their highlight reels rolling. Number 23's in the house.
It's hard to overstate Michael Jordan's impact on basketball and culture. Born in 1963 in Brooklyn, New York, Jordan became the gold standard for greatness in sports. But what made him so special? Was it his ability to take over games, his 6 championships, or something even bigger? Jordan didn't just play at the elite level, he was an icon. He inspired millions, especially among young African Americans, a model that talent, hard work, and determination can take anyone to great heights. His legacy exceeds basketball alone. It casts wider nets into sneaker culture and branding, and mostly points toward the NBA's elevation on a global scale. But to truly understand how good he was, we must look at what he did on the court. And trust me, the numbers are just as jaw-dropping as the highlights.
Michael Jordan shows again why he is the #1 MVP in the world.
Michael Jordan spent most of his career with the Chicago Bulls, winning 6 NBA championships in 2 three-peats, 1991 to 1993, 1996 to 1998. His 6 Finals MVPs remain unmatched. But Jordan's legacy extends beyond titles. His scoring, athleticism, and competitive fire revolutionized the game. Defenders had no answer for his clutch performances and mid-air acrobatics. After briefly retiring in 1993, he returned in 1995 with "I'm Back," leading the Bulls to a 72-10 season. Beyond basketball, he made the NBA a global phenomenon, paving the way for its worldwide influence. His dominance and evolution remain unparalleled in sports history.
With the hoop, mercy. The foul on Wingate is his first. In the lane, fadeaway shot at Michael Jordan, missed it, rebound.
Michael Jordan was an ordinary boy with formerly melancholic aspirations and an eventual triumph. In his sophomore year, Jordan was cut from his varsity basketball team. At that time, he stood barely 5 feet 11 inches, and his coach didn't think he was ready. That moment turned into his motivation to prove everyone wrong. The next year, he shot up to 6 feet 6 inches, honed his skills, and struck back by becoming the best player on his team. His talent took him to the University of North Carolina, UNC, where he played for the legendary Dean Smith. His first-year statistics were respectable but never gaudy. He averaged only 13 points a game. His coming-out party was in the 1982 NCAA championship game, in which he hit the championship-winning shot against Georgetown. That one moment changed it all. By his 3rd year, he'd be averaging 20 points a game and guaranteeing his title as the best collegiate player in the country. A player who could score effortlessly while contributing defense and leadership. There was just no doubt about it. Jordan was ready for the NBA. But no one had an inkling of just how dominating he would be.
5 pounds.
You know, he makes them when they count. He can do it in traffic. He can do it under tremendous control.
In the 1984 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls selected Michael Jordan 3rd overall. The Houston Rockets took Hakeem Olajuwon, while the Portland Trail Blazers chose Sam Bowie, a decision they'd regret forever. Some doubted if a shooting guard could lead a franchise, but Jordan quickly proved them wrong. He scored 30-plus points in 3 early games and had 9 40-point performances by mid-season. His 46-inch vertical, speed, and creativity made defenders helpless. Winning Rookie of the Year, he transformed the struggling Bulls into a must-watch team. The NBA had never seen anything like him, and this was just the beginning.
Well, as far as the fans in those new cities are concerned, it's well worth the price of admission just to get a look at the likes of Chicago's Michael Jordan.
Jordan was an unstoppable force in the NBA from the day he entered it. He became the highest scorer in 1987 when he completed his first scoring title, averaging 37.1 points a game. Quite an incredible feat today. But despite his brilliance, the Bulls found it tough going into the playoffs. They were not a well-rounded team capable of contesting league titles. By 1988, he emerged as the best player in every aspect, wowed the fans by averaging 35 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, and made his presence felt through steals and blocks. Certainly the one and only guard to do so. He won the MVP, but that still wasn't enough to trump the Pistons. Their Jordan rules contained him until everything changed. By 1989, with Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson, Chicago had 2 key components for its future. Pippen was a forward who could pass the ball, defend, and alleviate some of the pressure off Jordan. Of course, Pippen had to be developed, as he was still in the middle of this process. Then came Jackson, who implemented the triangle offense, emphasizing spacing, passing, and teamwork. No longer reliant on Jordan alone, the Bulls became unstoppable. By 1990 to 91, everything clicked. Jordan won his second MVP and led Chicago to its first NBA Finals. Facing Magic Johnson's Lakers, he dominated, securing the Bulls' first championship in 5 games. The Pistons were history, and a dynasty began. With the 1991 championship, Michael Jordan found nothing that could ever again stop him from achieving greatness. The Bulls overran the league, and in the NBA Finals versus the Lakers, Jordan averaged 31 points, 8.5 assists, and 6.5 rebounds, thus sealing his reputation as the world's greatest player. By 1992, the Bulls had gotten stronger, and Jordan had even another legendary moment in the NBA Finals against Portland, the shrug game. Jordan scored 6 three-pointers in the first half of Game 1, one of which was not known for three-point prowess. He hit the last one, turned to the scorer's table, and shrugged. This image became an NBA classic. The Bulls won that series in 6 minutes, and Jordan took home a second straight Finals MVP. Then came 1993, a tale in which somehow Jordan took things to a whole new level, where he averaged an astonishing 41 points per game against the Phoenix Suns in the Finals of 1993, a record that remains unbroken today. However, his most legendary performance was seen in Game 4, where he scored 55 points. The Bulls won their 3rd consecutive championship, and Jordan was named Finals MVP for the 3rd time. Chicago had officially built a dynasty, and just when it seemed that Jordan was destined to keep on winning forever, tragedy struck.
Well, I can't even put it in words. My father's just what it means to me.
On July 23, 1993, Jordan's father, James Jordan, was murdered in a robbery. The loss devastated him. His father had always been his biggest supporter, and without him, basketball didn't feel the same. Just months after winning his 3rd title, Jordan shocked the world by announcing his retirement. He walked away from the game at the height of his powers, saying he had nothing left to prove. Instead of basketball, Jordan turned to baseball, a sport his father had always wanted him to play. He signed with the Chicago White Sox and played in the minor leagues, but despite his elite athleticism, his baseball career never took off. But Jordan couldn't stay away from the game he had dominated for so long. In March 1995, after nearly 2 years away, he sent out a simple 2-word press release: "I'm back." The NBA world erupted. Jordan returned wearing number 45 instead of number 23, and although he was still great, he wasn't quite in peak form. The Bulls made the 1995 playoffs, but Jordan struggled against the Orlando Magic, losing in the 2nd round. It was the first time he had ever looked beatable. But if history had taught us anything, it was that counting out Michael Jordan was a mistake. And what happened next? That was the greatest comeback the NBA had ever seen.
Practice and get ready. But Danny's an excellent perimeter shooter. Here's Jordan. Goes this guy.
After the disappointing 1995 playoff loss, Michael Jordan returned with vengeance. The Bulls reloaded, adding Dennis Rodman, the league's best rebounder and a defensive powerhouse. With Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and fully committed Jordan, the Bulls became unstoppable. The 1996 season was a historic one. Chicago finished with a record of 72 wins and 10 losses, which was the best at that time in NBA history. Jordan took home the MVP award for the fourth time and led the Bulls to their fourth championship. The Bulls had defeated the Seattle Supersonics in the finals. In an emotional Game 6, Jordan slumped down on the locker room floor as the emotions engulfed him after winning his first championship following the death of his father. In 1997, Jordan delivered one of the most famous performances, the flu game. Jordan, visibly tired and dehydrated, played Game 5 of the NBA Finals against the Utah Jazz with such severe illness that he would almost have been considered non-competitive. Still, he scored 38 points in the game, including a dagger three-pointer to cap off the win. The series went to the Bulls in 6 games, giving Jordan his 5th ring. And then there was 1998, his last season in Chicago. The Bulls were no longer a very young team, but Jordan was still able to carry them. Utah would bear witness to his last defining moment. With 5.2 seconds left on the clock in Game 6, Jordan stole the ball and dribbled it up court, pushing off slightly to hit the game-winning shot over Byron Russell. It could not have been scripted any better. His 6th championship, 6th Finals MVP, and the last shot of his Bulls career.
Well, it really can be a spectacular night for the Bulls as Jordan has come up with another steal.
Jordan's game transformed over the years. During his formative playing years, he depended solely on pure athleticism, quickness, and diving ability. His timing for jumping higher and running faster was impeccable. Such qualities have made him an unstoppable scorer in some respects. But the critics would continue claiming that he can never win it on his own. By the mid-90s, he had turned into a more complete player. He worked on his passing to involve teammates like Pippen and Kerr, and he used to defend at an elite level to win Defensive Player of the Year in 1988. He learned to trust the system, and the triangle offense was there to exploit his talents. Later in his career, Jordan perfected the post-up game, relying on skillful footwork and shifty fakes more than jumping over defenders. His fadeaway jumper was a signature shot that still made him quite effective even as his jumps began to fade on him. Jordan would always be on top because he could adjust, evolve, and outthink the competition. At any point in his career, he always seemed to get it done. Michael Jordan, not just one of the all-time greats, but arguably the greatest to have ever laced up. But how does he stack against the other legends? Over the years, Chamberlain was a scoring machine with records like 100-point games and 50 points averaged over a season. However, he won only 2 per-gamenships and was often condemned for not being as competitive as Jordan was. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the all-time leading scorer for decades and won 6 championships. However, besides being dominant, he only won 2 final MVPs, which means he wasn't always the best player on his team in those championships. Jordan was, however, the unequivocal leader every time the Bulls claimed a title. Then we come to the LeBron James player, usually compared to Jordan. LeBron's longevity and all-around game stands second to no one with a 4-6 record in the finals. He pales in a few categories compared with MJ. While he happens to have superior stats in some areas, he has not overpowered the finals in the way that Jordan has. MJ went on an immaculate run in the finals, ending it all at 6-0, with not one series ever going to a Game 7. Jordan's remarkable ability to win at the most critical times almost defies all arguments against his being the greatest of all time, GOAT. His killer instinct, command of the clutch moments, and ability to rise above all competition are the qualities that make his case damn near undeniable. Jordan's numbers speak for themselves. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, most in NBA history, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, 14 All-Star appearances, Defensive Player of the Year, 1988. But his legacy goes beyond the stars. No player impacted the global popularity of basketball like Michael Jordan. Before his airness came, the NBA was a North American sport. But with all his high-flying dunks, signature moments, and unrivaled competition, basketball transformed into a world phenomenon. He created avenues for the NBA to enter markets further afield while becoming synonymous with brands like Nike and Gatorade. The Air Jordan sneaker line comes to signify a cultural lexicon, even today in a field still relishing in its glory and dominating the shoe industry. Even retired, he remains a blueprint for greatness. Players like Kobe Bryant and LeBron James have modeled their careers after him. His mindset, his work ethic, and his ability to win when it mattered most define his legendary status. So, what do you think? Is Michael Jordan undoubtedly the GOAT, or do other legends deserve the top spot? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into basketball's greatest players. See you in the next video.